Hey, what's going on, guys? I got a mean stack application for you today. So I have a video on my channel called something like build a mean app from scratch, and that you may have seen, and it's a long setup from absolutely nothing. So we set up Express, we built out a REST API using MongoDB, we built the front end with Angular 2, and we connected to the API. Well, in this video we're going to get quite a bit of help from a little tool called Mean.js. So Mean.js is something that we can use to generate a mean stack application from thin air. It gives us client-side and server-side code. Alright, so one thing about Mean.js is that it does use AngularJS, not Angular 2. I'm not sure if that's something that they plan on changing, but some people do actually prefer AngularJS over Angular 2. What I really like about Mean.js is that it gives you so much with so little effort. So it's great for prototyping and just getting something up really quick. Not only does it give you a boilerplate CRUD application, but it also gives you full user authentication using Passport. Alright, so you can register, log in, edit your profile, and so on. I'm actually using this in an Express course by Eduonix, and I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. Alright, so we're going to create a basic blog type application using Mean.js, and it'll also include user authentication. Alright, so you will need Node.js installed as well as MongoDB. If you don't have those installed, go ahead and do that now. I do have a crash course on MongoDB, and I do show you exactly how to install it in Windows, and it's pretty easy to install on Linux and Mac as well. Alright, I'm also using a command line tool called git bash for Windows, which gives us kind of closer to a Linux environment, so you may want to get that as well, but it's not needed. Alright, so let me close those up. Now, mean.js.org is the website for this tool, and you can download the files if you want, but there's a better way to do it, and that's using the Yo generator. Alright, so this uses the Yeoman's scaffolding tool, and you can actually install a Mean.js generator that will generate an application, and you can also use it to generate your modules and so on. Alright, so before we get started, there's a few things we need to install with npm, and you need to install these globally, so make sure you add the -g. Alright, so we're going to need Yo, which is the Yeoman generator tool. We're going to need the Mean.js generator, so that's generator Mean.js. We're also going to need Bower, which is a front-end client package manager, and we also need Grunt, which is a task manager or a task runner, and that's what Mean.js uses to actually run the app and do some other tasks as well. Alright, so we want to get these things installed. Alright, so once that's all set, I'm going to create a project or a project folder. So I'm going to say make dir, and let's call this mean blog. Alright, and then we'll cd into that folder. And we have to run this right here, yo mean.js. Okay, and this will generate an application. Okay, so it's going to ask us about versions. I'm just going to use whatever the default is, which is 040. Alright, so it's asking us which folder we want to create the project in. I actually want it in this folder, so I'm going to put in a dot. Okay, just a period and then enter. Okay, so what would you like to call the application? We'll call it mean blog. And we're just going to click enter here. Full stack application, enter. Company name or author name. I'll just put my name. You can put whatever you want. Would you like the article example CRUD module? So this will give us a good example of some CRUD functionality. So we're going to say yes to that. Okay, so would you like to generate the chat example module? I'm going to say no to that. Just the article's fine. Alright, so now it's going to take a couple minutes to generate your application. Alright guys, so that is done. It took about 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, so what we want to do now, to run the application, we get to run grunt. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, there are some issues with Mean.js that are known in the community that I will go over. One of them is that sometimes Angular isn't included correctly, and we may get a blank page when we open our server. So let's see, that's running. So let's go to localhost 3000, and notice that we have a completely blank page. If we open up the console, we're seeing this Angular is not defined. Alright, so to fix that, we just need to run bower install. So we're going to just Control C to get out of this, and we're going to say bower install, and we're going to add this --allow-root. Alright, and that'll get Angular set up correctly. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run grunt again. And let's go and reload. And now we have our boilerplate application. So this is the landing page that they give you. You can see that it uses Bootstrap by default. Now notice that we have the sign up and sign in links up here. So right from this point we have complete login functionality, registration, login. Now one thing I want to do before we create an account is I want to change the database name. Alright, because by default it's Mean.js or something like that. So I'm going to open up the project in Atom. Of course, you can use whatever you'd like for your editor. And we want to go to config, environment, and we're in our development.js environment. And then right here is our MongoDB address, and I'm just going to change mean.dev to mean.blog. Okay, we'll save that. And then that should auto reload. Every time you make a change, this will auto load. Now you can see we can sign in with social accounts, but these are not going to work right away. Alright, the reason for that is in order for them to work, you need to get your client ID, you need to register with their API and so on. And then you want to go to config, development.js, or production if you're in production. And you just want to enter your client ID and all that stuff. Okay, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to show you how to get rid of these. Okay, but if you want, you can do that. I do think that's a really nice feature, but I don't think that they should put these here by default. Alright, so let's go ahead and create an account. Okay, so I'm just going to put a fake email in, and a username, and a password, and sign up. Okay, now you can see it redirects us to the home page, and you can see up here we're logged in. Alright, now if we click this, we can go ahead and edit the profile, which is really nice. This stuff is all set up by default. We can have a profile picture, change our password, manage our social accounts, but that again, that's not going to work because we don't have our client IDs and all that. Alright, so pretty good functionality right off the bat. Now, you see under articles, we have list articles, which is basically just a list of the articles we have. There are none right now. But we can go and we can say create article, and you can create, they give you a title field and content by default. Alright, now we're not going to actually use this because I want to show you how to build your own module from scratch. So we're going to create a post module. Alright, now before we do that, I just want to fix some things up. So let's change this logo here, this branding. So for that, we're going to go into modules. And every time you create a module using the generator, it'll show up here, and you'll get a client and server folder. Okay, so you have the front end, which is all Angular.js, and then the server, which is Express and MongoDB. All right, notice that if we go in models, we look at the model, it actually uses Mongoose, okay, for its ORM, and this is just a standard Mongoose model. All right, so to change like the home page, things like that, there's this core module. Alright, so if we go to core client views and then header.client view, this is where the nav bar is. So we can go ahead and change this to, we'll say, mean blog. Alright, now if you want menu items and all that, you don't edit this file. You actually have a config file for each module where you can add menu items from there. Okay, so let's save that. And you can see that that's now changed. Alright, let's also go ahead and change the home page content. That's going to be in this home client view. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to get rid of the image here, this Mean.js image, and replace it with an H1. And let's just say mean blog. And let's say full featured blogging system. I don't know. Just you can put whatever you like. All right, and then down here, all this stuff I'm actually going to get rid of. So this div, get rid of that. This one, this well, and then these two lines. All right, so let's save that, see what it looks like. Okay, very, very simple. Now this learn more is this link here. Let's go ahead and change that. And I want this to go to just /posts. And let's say show posts. And then we're going to create another one. I'm going to copy that, paste this in, and this is going to be to create a post. Okay, that's going to go to post/create. Now these aren't going to work right now. We still have to generate the post module, but I just want to get it all set. All right, let's change this to button success. Okay, so like I said, that's not going to work. We're going to get a not found error. All right, so that's our home page. Very simple. Let's see. Now what we're going to do is generate our post module. All right, so we're going to go back to our command line or terminal and Control-C to stop. And if we go to our documentation here, this is how we generate a module. Okay, so we're going to say yo Mean.js : and we want a CRUD module, and let's say posts. Okay, so it's asking us the name of the module. I'm not sure why it does that, because I just said I want it to be posts, but we'll type it in again. Now for this, I'm just going to enter. I don't want to create any of these by default. Would you like to add the CRUD module links to a menu? Okay, so do we want to add a menu for this? We'll say yes. And it's asking us which menu we want. The top bar is the default top nav, so we're going to just click enter. And now it's set up. So now you'll see that in modules we have this posts folder, which has our client and server and tests. All right, so if we go back to our application, it should add that. Oh, we need to restart it or start it up with grunt. Okay, so notice that we're getting a blank page again. This is another fallback with Mean.js. I don't know why they haven't fixed it, but what we need to do, if we look in the console, it says unknown provider. What the hell? It says unknown provider menu service provider. So the way that we fix this is we need to go into our posts, and we want to go into client config, and right here post client config, and then what we want to do is change this menu service to menus. Okay, so if we save that and reload, now it works. Now there's going to be another issue. If we try to go to posts, list posts, or create posts, we get an error here. Now the reason for that is we need to remove this client right here. It should actually just be post/views. So the way that we fix that is by going into posts, right here, post.client.routes in the config, and just removing right here client. Okay, there. So all of these we just want to remove client/. It's such a simple fix. I don't know why they haven't fixed it, but let's save that and we'll reload. And now if we go to list posts, it's fine. Create posts, fine. All right, now by default they're just going to give us a name field. Okay, and obviously we want more than that. Okay, so we're going to add some fields, but before that I just want to get rid of the articles menu here because we're not going to use that anymore. So let's go to modules, articles, client, config, and right here articles, client, config, and this is where we can add and remove menu items. So in this function right here, I'm just going to clear it out. that. Save. Okay, so now we just have our posts. All right. Let's see what else. Now what's nice is that if we log out, you can see that we can't access, we can go to posts to list the post, but if we try to create one, we can't. We have to actually register and log in. All right, now I do want the list post link visible even if the user isn't logged in. So I'm going to change up the menu a little bit. So let's sign back in. And I just want a list post and a create post link here. All right, so what we're going to do is go to modules, posts, config, and we want this post client config. All right, so I'm going to just comment this stuff out. All right, and we're going to add a menu item. I'm actually going to copy this right here. Okay, and we'll paste that in. So we want to add a menu item to the top bar. Title is going to be latest posts. Okay, the state is going to be posts.list. We're not going to need a type of drop down. And then roles, we want everybody to access it, so we're going to keep the asterisk. All right, now I'm going to copy this, and we're going to put in another one, and this is going to be create post. Okay, so this is going to be the state is going to be post.create. And then roles, we're going to put in user because we want it to be logged in users only. All right, so let's save that. Okay, so now we have latest posts and create post. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to add more fields than just names. So let's go to our posts, and now we're going to have to go to the server side and go to models and then our post server model. Okay, so this is just a standard Mongoose model if you've ever worked with Mongoose before. And what we're going to do is let's copy this name right here and paste this in, and let's change this to body. We'll say please fill post body, and I'm actually going to change name to title. Alright, and you can see it has the type, it has a default and required along with the message, and then trim, which will trim the field. Alright, so I also want this to have a tags field, so we can add tags. So let's actually copy this, and we'll say tags. And I'm not going to make this required, so I'm going to get rid of this. Alright, and then let's also have a category field. Okay, so we'll paste that in, say category. Alright, so that's good for now. You see it also has the date field. It also has the user associated with the post. So let's save that. Now it's not going to update the form. We have to do that too. So let's go to, that's going to be in our client. So post client and views, and then form post client view. Okay, so this is our form. And notice it just has the name field right here. So I'm going to change this to title, and we're going to change a bunch of stuff. The for, we're going to change the name of the input to title, and the ng model. Okay, so that has to do with Angular. ng model basically associates a module's scope property with this form field. All right, so it's going to be vm.post.title. We're going to change the ID and the placeholder. Okay, now right here, we can put in a message. It just says post name is required. I'm going to delete this altogether. Okay, so now that should be a title. Let's save it. Okay, now let's add our other fields. So we also have the body. So I'm going to just copy this whole form group, paste that in. Let's change this to body. Now this is going to be a text area, so we'll change input to text area, and it'll have to have a closing tag as well. Alright, and then we're going to change the name to body. Change the ng model, ID, let's see, the for, and the placeholder. Alright, so that's our body. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay, that's good. Next we have the tags. So I'm going to copy this form group. And let's go right here and paste in tags, or add tags. Change this. Let's see that. Placeholder. Okay, and then we need the category. Now the category is going to be a select list. So I'm actually going to just paste that in. Okay, so we have same thing with just a label. We have a select with the name of category. ng model is VM post category. And then we just have an empty select. We have business, education, other, and technology. And you can add other ones if you'd like. But let's go ahead and save that. Alright, so there's our category drop down. So we should be able to submit a post. And what's cool is that we don't even have to add anything to the back end. Now if we go to modules post server and go to our controller, it's submitting to this create function here, and you can see it's just creating a new post with the entire body of the form, so we don't have to add each specific field in the back end. And that's something we did have to do in previous versions of Mean.js. Alright, and of course you can change it to do whatever you'd like. Alright, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. So we'll say sample post 1, and for the body I'm just going to grab some sample content here from lipsum.com. I just generated a couple paragraphs, paste that in. Tags, we'll say tag 1, tag 2, tag 3, and let's say business. Create. Okay, so it created, but it took us to the details page, but we haven't added our title and all that in the view, so it's only seeing what was there by default, which is the date and the user. Alright, now if we click on our edit button here, you can see that all that stuff was saved, which is good, and we can update it if we want. We can also delete it. If we go to latest posts, you'll see that it is listed, but it's just the date and the user. So let's go ahead and fix that in the view. I'm just going to close all these out. Alright, so let's start with the list view here. So that's going to be under posts client views, and then this list post file right here. So we're just going to change, let's see, right here. It's basically binding post.name, which we don't have anymore. It's a title, so we'll say post.title. Alright, save that. And now you can see we get sample post 1. Okay, so if we click on that, it takes us to the details page. That is going to be right here, view post.client.view. And we're going to change right here, post.name to post.title. Save that. And now we get the title. So under that, we want to put the body. So we'll bind, we'll say div ng bind. Okay, we want to bind vm dot post dot body. Save that, and there's our body. All right, if we want to put the category, let's see, we'll put that. Let's put an H1 with the title and category. Now what I'm going to do is change this to a span. And we're going to wrap that in H1 like that. Okay, and then right next to it, let's put in a small tag. And we'll put a span in here, and let's do ng-bind. Actually, I want to show you we don't have to use ng-bind. We can actually use interpolation like this, and we can say vm.post.category. Save it. Whoops, what happened there? Oh, I didn't end the h1. Okay, so now we have our title. Let's put a space after it. And now we have our title and our category. Actually, let's say posted in. Okay. And then we'll put our tags at the bottom. So let's go under the body, and we'll put a line break and then a paragraph. And let's put in vm.post.tags. Say tags. You can do whatever you want here as far as how it looks. Alright. So let's see, latest posts. I also want to put a little bit of the body in here. So let's go back to the list posts, and we'll go under the title, and let's put a paragraph, and then now on the list page we actually don't need that VM. We can just say post post.body. Okay, now I want to cut this down a little bit. So what we can do is we can actually add a what is it called? A filter. Okay, so we're going to put a pipe character, and then we're going to say limit to, and then the number of words. So let's say 200. Save, and now you can see the post is limited. All right, I'm just going to put a line break under the date here, which is posted by, so right here. Actually, let's put an HR. All right, so that's that. And let's create another one. Actually, you know what? Let's sign out, and we'll sign up as a different user. Oh, before we do that, let's get rid of this. All right, so if we go to modules, users, that's where the authentication, the login, all that stuff is. And then client, views, and we want to go to authentication, and then this authentication client view, and we're going to get rid of this h3 and then everything in this div. Okay, save that. That gets rid of those icons. Now you probably want to change this title as well. So if we go to sign up client view and change this heading, we'll just say sign up, and then we'll go to sign in client view, change this heading to sign in. Alright, so let's sign up as a different user. Oh, say John Doe. Sign up. Okay, so now we're John Doe, and notice we can see our other post, but we can't edit it because it's a different user. So let's create a post. We'll say sample post 2. This is another, actually I'll just grab that. Tags, category, create. Okay, so there's our second post. And if we look, we can see both posts. One's by John Doe, one's by Brad, and the John Doe one we can edit. Okay, so if we update that, you can see, so now we have a full CRUD functionality. We have full CRUD functionality for posts. We have complete user authentication. We can link social accounts, register with social accounts. We can easily generate other CRUD modules with a simple command. So it's a pretty nice tool, I think. So something you guys may want to check out and look more into. I know obviously I didn't go through every single file and all the syntax, but I just wanted to make a quick video kind of introducing you guys to it if you haven't used it before. This actually, the idea of this comes from my Express course, which I'm currently redoing, and that the new course will be available soon. I'll put a link in the description. Alright, so if you guys like this, please subscribe, please leave it a like, leave a comment, whatever you can do is fine, and I'll see you next time.